Shalom, I'm Rabbi Michael Panitz. I'm the Rabbi of Temple Israel of Norfolk, Virginia, speaking to you from the pulpit of our synagogue. At this time, I'd like to address the following topic: the ultimate test of whether a house of prayer is successful. What is the ultimate test of whether a religious congregation is successful? We live in a society where religion is separated from employing the secular power of the state, both by law and by the lessons drawn from the history of our modern Western thought. Therefore, we think of churches, synagogues, and the like as voluntary associations. According to that reckoning, the ultimate test of success is whether people patronize the house of worship or not. No people means failure. Or if we want to avoid a harsh word, no people means that a congregation has fulfilled its original purpose and may honorably close its doors. As a rabbi functioning in our time and place, I certainly appreciate the importance of this criterion. But without any desire to court unpopularity, I am duty-bound to remind us that the litmus test of attendance and other forms of participation, that's only the penultimate measure of a religious congregation's success, not the ultimate one. The ultimate one is, quite frankly, whether we have succeeded in creating a congregation where God's presence is at home. The Bible is quite clear about this, both in the positive and the negative. The positive expression that people built it and God came is the climax of the book of Exodus, and the final verses of the reading that we will be hearing in synagogue this coming Shabbat. Quote, "And so Moses finished the work. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. In all the travels of the Israelites, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. But if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted. So the cloud of the Lord was over the tabernacle by day, and fire was in the cloud by night, in the sight of all the Israelites during all their travels." And those are the last half dozen verses of the book of Exodus. The presence of God is not confined to the tabernacle, although the biblical imagination localizes it there. Elsewhere, the Bible sees God's presence as being a blessing to the people in whose midst God consents to reside. Leviticus chapter 26, verses 3 and verses 11 and 12. "If you follow my decrees and are careful to obey my commands, I will put my dwelling place among you, and I will not abhor you. I will walk among you and be your God, and you will be my people." That was the biblical purpose of the Day of Atonement, Leviticus chapter 16, to cleanse the tabernacle of the pollution of the sins committed by the people, and thus to ensure that God would continue to be present. The negative corollary is that just as God promises us that the ultimate reward of our righteous behavior in God is God's presence, so too God warns us that the ultimate consequence of our misdeeds is the loss of God's presence in our midst. The prophecy of Ezekiel chapter 10, referring to the period just before the destruction of the Jerusalem temple, envisioned God's departure from it as a response to the idolatry practiced by the Judeans, even in the temple itself. Quote, "Now the cherubim were standing on the south side of the temple when a man went in, and a cloud filled the inner court. Then the glory of the Lord rose from above the cherubim and moved to the threshold of the temple." And now verse 18. "Then the glory of the Lord departed from over the threshold of the temple and stopped above the cherubim. While I watched, the cherubim spread their wings and rose from the ground, and as they went, the wheels went with them. They stopped at the entrance of the east gate of the Lord's house, and the glory of the God of Israel was above them. These were the living creatures I had seen beneath the God of Israel by the river Chebar, and I realized that they were cherubim. Then the cherubim with the wheels beside them spread their wings, and the glory of the God of Israel was above them. The glory of the Lord went up from within the city and stopped above the mountain east of it." God left the temple. Congregations forget this to their peril. Filling their seats is important, but filling them because they stand for godly virtues and people respond positively to that stance is what counts most of all. Our covenant with God is about both dimensions of our religious mandate, to be right with each other and to be right with God. Indeed, the two are inseparable. When we lift each other up, helping each other to be our best selves, we are honoring the God who calls us to form community. The other side of this coin is that when we stand in prayer and, quote, "know before whom we are standing," and that is the message of the Hebrew above the curtain of our holy ark, know before whom you stand, then we are fulfilling what synagogues are about. Ultimately, a successful house of God is one where we fulfill God's mandate as expressed by the prophet Micah, chapter 6, verse 8, to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. Amen.